let's move into the data, guys. Boom. So here, okay, don't look at the ugliness of the code, blah blah blah, just look at the beautiful pictures, okay? Here you have, I know I have to get better with the presentation, okay? I know, don't comment that, but anyway, the very important thing that you see here is the data. So this is nothing. There you go. This is the latest information about what works best. Let me put down a little bit the music. What works best versus what. So basically, just a reminder, what I did is I looked at every single match, but only in the national competition, if I'm not mistaken. I have to double check. So only in the top 10 divisions in Soccerverse, based on TV money. So I think you can see the top 10 divisions. I have it here as a variable. Top 10 leagues. There you go. These are the top 10 leagues that I looked at in season 1 and all the matches of season 1 and all the matches of season 2. I looked at every individual match and then I segmented the match based on situation. So for instance, if I'm playing versus you and there is no situations, so my starting formation and starting playstyle is exactly the same as the end formation and end playstyle, and your starting formation and playstyle is exactly the same as the end formation. So nothing changes. So that whole match is one segment. But if I change formation, for instance, at the 60 minutes and you don't change anything, I will look at that segment. So what happened from minute 0 to minute 60? So that's because the situation make a change at 60 minutes. So what happened from 0 to 60 minutes in Napoli? Did I score any goal? And if I did, or if I didn't, what was the formation? What was the play style? And versus the other rival formation and playstyle. So imagine in a situation, in a match where playstyle changes 2 or 3 times between the two clubs that are fighting each other. I take all of these segments from minutes 0 to minutes 5. It was 4-4-2 normal versus 4-3-3 counter-attacking. And then from minutes 5 to minutes 15, it was 4-4-2 defensive versus 4-1-3-2 counter-attacking, stuff like that. All of those segments, and I looked at the goals. I only looked at goals. I can even look at how many occasions, how many fouls, how many whatever you want. But for now, I just look at how many goals. And this is the most accurate thing that you can get if to take into consideration situations, so that you don't only look at the initial one, because it doesn't make sense, because everything changes during matches. And this is what the data says. For instance, if you only look at the average goals scored, on the left side you will see your playstyle versus your rival playstyle, which is the x-axis, the one on the horizontal axis. For instance, if you play, you're gonna play versus a defensive. So you start from the bottom, you look at defensive, okay? You go here, defensive, and then you look at the average goal scored, the highest average goal scored along the column, and you will see that it's still passing. So this doesn't mean that if you play passing versus defensive, you're gonna win. There are so many other variables, too many variables. There are the players themselves. There are huge variables. There is randomness. There is tempo. There is aggressiveness of each individual. There are a lot of variables. But overall, the trend across all of these matches, you will see that passing is the one that on average gets more goals, even though very little. Look at that. It's only half a goal every match, which means he's gonna get 1 goal passing versus defensive, only 1 goal every 2 matches. So still very, very, very low, because defensive, it's super effective at neutralizing attackers' goals. And you can clearly see here, look at how low this is. Is this data available anywhere? No, I calculated it. It's not available. It's available in my shows. Here, take a snapshot. But the good thing that you can do with this data, I can isolate based on managers. So for instance, you play versus Serao 10 next time. I can look at this data only for Serao 10, so that you have an idea of what is Serao 10 weaknesses. Again, cannot predict the future, cannot predict the result, but at least gives you some information, some extra information that normally you have to go through all his results, etc. But this is very interesting. Or another thing, you play versus normal. Look at passing. Never use normal. If you use normal, someone with passing, it's almost 3 goals per match on average. It's huge. It's huge. And then, so counter-attack was the best option against passing. So if you use passing, counter-attack is the best. Yes. Otherwise passing and passing is about 1. But yes, slightly better counter-attacking. If you play versus counter-attacking, it's long ball. Even though it's only 0.8, but still it's still passing is 0.75. By the way, these are not. It's not a symmetrical matrix. It's not a symmetrical because there are differences in home versus away, and I don't remember exactly why. I think it's mostly away versus home versus away. I played counter-attack because I didn't want to go with same playstyle because it was better players. Yeah, he has better players. If you played counter-attack versus a passing, you did well. You did the best. Aito Shirin, you did very well. And this is for the average goal scored, and the average goal conceded is basically how much you get. So actually what to avoid. On the right is actually what to avoid. If you play versus passing, don't use normal. We know it from the average goal scored. If you put the two matrices together, all together, and we look at the average goal scored overall, now here is what this matrix tells you. The bluer, the most positive is, the better it is. The most positive, this is basically taking in consideration goals scored minus goals conceded. If it's red, it's a negative, which means that you're most likely to get goals rather than make goals. If it's bluer, the most blue the better, the bluest the better, it means that it's most likely to make more goals than you get, okay? Because these ones were just how many goals you do, but it doesn't take you into account these other metrics, how many goals you take. You know, maybe you can make a lot of goals, but you get too exposed and you also take so many goals. So if you put everything together, that's exactly what the data says. Again, let's have a look at defensive. Now in defensive, the bluer it's still passing. 0.24. See, don't look at the meaning of these numbers because they're pretty difficult to interpret. It's all you want to see is higher blue number for not likelihood, for for how effective it is in winning, in scoring more than taking, okay? Or the opposite, how the redder is the more negative, is like, don't do that. For instance, passing versus passing is 0, and you can almost see here long ball versus long ball, very close to 0, very close to 0, all the same playstyle versus same playstyle. And then what else we can see? For instance, counter-attacking, long ball. If you play versus counter-attacking, long ball again is still the best. If you play versus counter-attacking, we saw it. If you play versus defensive, we saw it. If you play versus normal, passing, of course. And another thing you can see is looking at the horizontal axis. So what is the row, in your opinion, that is the most all-rounder? So the most all-rounder, it would be a row, a whole row, blue, the most blue. Look at defensive row. It's almost 0, slightly negative against attacking, slightly negative versus counter-attacking, slightly negative versus defensive, slightly positive here versus long ball, very positive versus normal, and slightly negative versus passing. So this is an indication that if you play defensive, no matter who you're playing against, you probably drew. These are draw. If they play normal, actually, if they play normal, you win. Defensive is strong versus normal, but everything is strong versus normal. Look at normal. The column is all blue. It means that if you play normal, I can play anything and I am advantaged. Attack. Let's have a look at attack. Attacking. Look at attacking. If you play attacking, I play passing, I win. If I play normal, I lose. If I play long ball, I win. If I play defensive, I draw, of course. If I play counter-attacking versus attacking, I super win. And if I play attacking versus attacking, there is almost draw. A slightly more chance for me to lose. So keeping this in mind for your next matches, and maybe can help you make some formation, just to help. But the key thing is you'll never know what your rival will do unless you go into his mind and you go through his history and you check. For instance, Kloklov is nice. He did a tool where you can see the past 5 matches. Let's go Soccerverse base of anyone. Like for instance, if I go in analysis, tactical analysis in Kloklov, I put the club ID of Freiburg. What is this? 160. We're gonna see next match is against Heidenheim, and you can see the past match of Heidenheim, how he went. He lost 0-2 versus Mainz. Okay, it's a bit small. Let me. Okay. He used passing. Here he used defensive. You can see already that he's mostly using 5-3-2 defensive. Otherwise passing and normal. The only thing is Kloklov, maybe it would be nice to have some extra information here, like what the situations, but it's difficult to put everything into one place. But if you get kind of understand how at least it will start, your rival will start, this information can give you some extra help. Alright, counter-attack was the best option against passing. Yes, because look at that. Passing on the bottom, if you go up, the only slightly blue is counterattacking. So that was the best option. Yes, it is. I played counterattack. That was kind of data I needed. Yeah, yes, but now you have it. It's here. Serrao 10. Oh, and then there is this. This is a mess. This is probably too much to discuss, but this is basically formation versus formation. So here we're talking about formation. For instance, Freiburg, I took note, you use Aitoshirin, a 4-1-2-2-1, which is very uncommon. Let's have a look how many times it's been used. Well, a thought less. The 4-1-2-2-1 across Season 1 and Season 2 in the top 10 divisions is been used 851 times. That's a lot. And average goals, but you see, using this formation, on average per game, scored 0.9 goals. So less than 1 goal per game, which is not bad. I mean, it's not bad. And this formation, on average, got 0.6 goals against. This makes a difference between the goal for and goal against of 0.28, so 0.3. So overall, it's still a positive formation. It's not a negative, which is, is not what you want. Let's have a look at the 4-1-2-2-1, which is here. You use this. You played versus a 4-2-3-1. So let's go 4-2-3-1. There you go. And you use the 4-1-2-2-1. 4-1-2-2-1 is here. Boom. So this is the same concept as before, okay? Formation versus formation, opponent formation versus your formation. The most blue, the better it is, the better likelihood of scoring more than getting goals. The more redder, the more it means that you get more goals, you take more goals than you make. And your formation is slightly negative, but it's very slightly, 0.15, which means it's not that bad, only formation wise. Then there is all the other stuff, the play style, the players, the pace, the tempo, the aggressiveness, the randomness, right? But at least formation wise, it wasn't a bad choice. It's actually one of the best choice would have been a 3-4-3 plus 0.29. You know what, actually, guys, I always forget. I have to add how many times. So this data is based on how many occurrences. What's the sample size of each cell? For instance, here if you had used 3-4-3 as a formation, this data says that the 3-4-3 was the best, the ones that got more goals for rather than taken, with a positive 0.3 value. The thing is, maybe this data is based on only 15 occurrences, so it's not as accurate as if it was based on 500. Well, 500 no, is too much. 100 occurrences, you see? So take this data with a little bit of caution, because we are really segmenting the data very, very fine. Every formation versus every formation. So not many times. Some formation never happened as well. And for some reason, for the 4-1-2 defensive, I don't understand why I don't have it here. I'm missing one. Why I don't have it? I'm missing one formation, to be honest, which is the 4-5-1 defensive. I have the 4-5-1, but I don't have the 4-5-1 defensive. So this is something I have to look for. Weird. Anyway, what is the best formation overall? Basically, is again the one that on the row, the bluest row. What is the bluest row in your opinion? I see a 3-4-1-2, pretty bluish. See, 3-4-1-2, pretty bluish. Even look at that, the 4-1-3-2, pretty bluish. 4-1-3-2, and we can see it here. 3-4-1-2 used 357 times. Average goal difference 0.8. So for now, the 3-4-1-2 is being the one that is being used 357 times, not many times, but the ones that has taken home more wins. Followed by the 3-4-3, 3-2-2-1. I used a lot of 3-2-2-1 at the beginning of the championship, Serie A. Now I'm switched to other formation. And then we have the 4-2-3-1. Look how many times it's been used. 2,490 for an average goal difference of almost 0.5. What is remarkable is that this relatively high value, positive, is based on a very high sample size, 2,590. So this is very strongly a candidate for best formation ever. 4-2-3-1. 4-2-3-1. Which is the one you played against, by the way, Ito Shirin. Sample size is absolutely immense. Very. It's super important, the Sousa. Otherwise, we cannot draw conclusion. Okay, and then another thing. Sorry. 4-1-3-2. Also very good. So why I tell you this? Because now I looked at the Liverpool data. So Liverpool, guys, you know it. There's no secret. It's super winning. We already saw it. All green, 33 points. Champions of Premier League Season 1. Serie 10, 60 games, 45 wins. He lost only 7 times and he drew only 8. It's crazy. If you think about it, it's crazy. He's not on top of the leaderboard only because he's playing with Liverpool, which is a very big one. So Liverpool is always strong versus everything else. But here, actually, maybe if I put veterans, Deep Sick is still veteran is first. So we don't see in the top 10, we don't see him, even though he's one of the best, because Liverpool is very strong. It's weird that we don't see him here, huh? So in the tactician points, you do more points if your team is a weak team and you score many goals. I mean, if you win many times versus stronger teams, you gain more points. If you win versus teams that are weaker than you gain less points. So it makes sense. Liverpool is one of the best in the game, so almost everyone will be same level or less. So tactician points, he doesn't get many tactician points, but at least the veteran points, which is simply how many points you gained since the start of the game, purely wins. Is not there. It's weird. Like this Dipsic. Look at my squad and backup strikers. I mean, I put more time in tactics and situation. I just play with 4-1-2-2-1 because it's a good formation for Freiburg. You did well. You actually picked a good one. If it's possible, look at my squad and backup strikers. I don't think it's possible now, but we can do like You're 51, Lux. Wow. Big veteran points. Big match. Italy match. A derby. Lux versus Nickx. We have to climb up, eh? Okay. So, the data about Serrao 10. First of all, let's have a look at the Soccerverse. Who plays versus Serrao 10? Who plays versus him next time? Just I wanted to show you. Do you think that he uses very complicated formations or not? If you go through his individual reports, you will see one thing. It's very clear. 4-1-3-2. First of all, he uses a 4-1-3-2. 4-1-3-2, I told you, is the second best formation with a very important sample size. The other one, the ones on top of that is the 4-2-3-1 with a very high sample size, but the second largest sample size of 1,305 matches, actually segments, I'm talking about segments, is the 4-1-3-2, and is very high. Is a number 5, of actually the 6th best. Here he plays versus this. Actually, I can do like this. I can go to Sparta Praha, take his ID, go into Soccerverse, look at the tactical analysis, so that we're gonna see all at one place the pass formation. Look at that. Liverpool 4-1-3-2 passing, 4-1-3-2 passing, 4-1-3-2 counter attack, 4-1-3-2 normal, but then it will change. 4-1-3-2 passing. Does it say? Does it look like it's doing some magic or not? I don't think so. And that's actually exactly what I found. By doing the same analysis, this analysis, but only with Serrao 10, only with Liverpool. Liverpool has always been managed by Serrao 10, so for me it was easy. Like here, for instance, I put Club Focus Liverpool, and I looked at his statistics, and as you can see, look what he used. Basically, he used only, exclusively, the 4-1-3-2 formation. On average, he scored 1.5 goals per match with the 4-1-3-2 formation, and he goals against only 0.2, which basically is 1 goal every 5 games. And this is clearly you clearly see it. Look. Yes, Frozen Beat missed. Average tempo 2 means fast. Yes. Look. This is Liverpool. Liverpool lost, won 3-1. So they got 1 goal. Here, they won 1-0. Don't look at Champions League because I don't take into account Champions League. 2-0, 1-0, 3-1. Finally, he got 1 goal. 8-0, 2-0, 0-0. No goals taken. 1-0, 6-0, 1-0. Okay, I'm also reading Champions League. Anyway, 0-0, Premier League, 0-1. He got 1 goal finally versus Everton. 1-0, 6-1, this is Champions League, 0-0, 1-0. So you see the point. He almost never get a goal. Why? So first of all, we saw he only used this 4-3-3, used only once. 100% that was, I can check when it was against who, etc. Actually, let's have a look, but I'm pretty sure this was an error and it was a default formation. So let's have a look when that was, but I'm wasting time because I already know. I'm pretty sure. There you go. Fixture ID, it was this. Versus Newcastle. Let's have a look. There you go. 4-3-3 versus Newcastle. Of course they won. Come on, what's going on? 2-1, but there has been one substitution, which maybe it's an injury. Yes, injury for Ribeiro. So this 4-3 normal, this 100% was an error. So he forgot to and when was this, by the way? 10 April. Was that season 1 or season 2? I don't know. Anyway, as I said, as I was thinking, that was just an error. Otherwise, he always used 4-1-3-2, except twice 4-3-2-1-2, which are the best ones. Second analysis, how did he go? Actually, you know what? Let's have a look. I didn't do this analysis. Let me do it right now. I want to know the counts. How many times did he use? Give me 1 second. I want to see how many times he used which playstyle. Dot count, I think it's like that, and then relative. Let's do like that. I want to relative though. Whatever, let's look at the absolute. Okay, forget about all of these columns because this is just the count, how many times he used what. So don't look at these columns, just look at the numbers here. And as you can see, he used 29 times passing in his situations, and otherwise counter-attacking. He used passing, counter-attacking almost most of the time. Normal 18 times, I think is because he starts normal and then move to passing or counter-attacking. But it's very simple, guys. Apparently domination in Premier League, for him, it's just, well, the team, Liverpool is a very strong team, okay? First of all, if you don't have the team, you cannot win. But it's using only 2 formations, mostly the 4-1-3-2 or 4-3-1-2, and then all the time counter-attacking, or the one that is the best versus counter-attacking, which is passing. It's interesting. It's exactly... He probably has access to the data as well, or is actually applying exactly what the data says, and is dominating like crazy. Second thing we can look at, and his current efficiencies in playstyle. For instance, you can see here that when the opponent is your formation is actually set out 10. When you guys use passing, set out 10, with his passing, he has an average goal, a value of 2. It means that on average does 2 goals more than what it takes. So he's gonna win. He's gonna win anyway. Look how, I don't know how interesting is this data, to be honest, at the individual level, because all you can see is how effective is his playstyle versus yours. And you can see that counter-attacking, if you wanna beat, it's impossible to beat, he almost never loses. But if you wanna have a little bit more chances versus set out 10, you know that he's gonna use counter-attack. Maybe look at this data and use defensive. Defensive gets him 0.33 value, or long ball. Well, classic. We know it. Defensive, we're gonna try to draw. Long ball, you're gonna try to win. Or even actually passing is the best. What else? This is not very interesting, to be honest. Another thing is how his formation went versus your other formations. And as you can see, it's all blue. It's all blue because he only wins. But if you want to spot any weaknesses in a person with this type of visualization, you will see that in his he always use the 4-1-3-2. Whenever he used 4-1-3-2, the least goals that he did, it was versus a 4-2-2-2, 4-2-2-2, or 4-2-3 wingers, or 5-3-2. So this is interesting. With this type of visualization, you can have a look at what is the formation that put more pressure on us, on someone. In this case, we are looking at a beast. There are no clear patterns, but definitely the 4-2-2 is the only negative. Slightly, but only negative. Whenever he used the 4-3-1-2, but he only used it three times. 2 times, so it's not, we shouldn't even talk about it. He used it 2 times and he lost. Versus a 4-1-2-2-1. This is probably, I don't know. And that's it. This is insights into the best manager of Premier League. I hope you like it.